Don't ignore this. Your soulmate is hiding a painful truth. Heaven is about to reveal the secret they regret every day. If you found this message, it is not by accident. Some moments in life arrive quietly, but they carry the weight of destiny. This is one of those moments. Because somewhere in this world, the person your soul has always been connected to is carrying a truth so heavy that it echoes through their thoughts every single day. They smile in front of others. They pretend everything is normal. They go through the routines of life as if nothing is wrong. But deep inside their heart, there is a secret they have never fully spoken, a truth that has followed them like a shadow. And heaven sees it all. You may not realize it yet, but your soulmate has been fighting a silent battle within themselves. A battle between what they chose and what their soul truly wanted. There was a moment in the past when their heart recognized you. Not just as another person, but as something deeper, something sacred, something that felt like home in a way they could never explain. Yet life does not always move according to the heart's desires. Circumstances, fear, expectations, and the pressure of the world can push people to make decisions that their soul quietly disagrees with. And that is where their pain began. Because even though they walked forward with the choice they made, a part of their spirit remained tied to you. They tried to ignore it at first. They told themselves it was nothing. They convinced their mind that what they felt would eventually fade. But some connections are not temporary emotions. Some bonds are written into the deeper layers of the soul, and no matter how far someone walks away, the feeling does not disappear. Instead, it waits, patiently, reminding them in quiet moments of what they left behind. Your soulmate carries memories of you in ways you cannot see. Sometimes it appears in the smallest things. A song that suddenly brings back a feeling they cannot explain. A random moment of silence where your presence fills their mind. A dream that wakes them up in the middle of the night, leaving their heart beating with a mixture of longing and regret. They may never say your name out loud, but inside their thoughts, your presence is still alive. And that is the painful truth they try to hide from the world. Because admitting it would mean facing the reality that their heart made a mistake. Heaven has been watching this story unfold from the beginning. Every choice, every moment of hesitation, every silent tear that fell when no one was looking, none of it has been unseen. The universe understands how fragile human hearts can be. Sometimes people walk away from love not because they do not feel it, but because they are afraid of what it means. Love requires courage. It asks people to trust something deeper than logic. And when fear becomes louder than faith, people often choose the path that feels safer, even if it leaves their soul restless. That is what happened to your soulmate. They followed the road that seemed easier at the time. Maybe it was pressure from family. Maybe it was timing that did not seem right. Maybe it was doubt whispering that the connection was too intense, too real, too overwhelming to handle. Whatever the reason was, the choice created a quiet storm inside their heart. Because the soul recognizes truth even when the mind tries to deny it. And the truth is this: a part of them never stopped loving you. They may live their life surrounded by people. They may appear happy. They may convince others that everything is perfect. But the soul does not forget the person who awakened something eternal inside it. Every day they carry the weight of that realization. Some days the feeling is soft and distant, like a faint echo. Other days it becomes stronger, like a wave of emotion they cannot fully control. And during those moments, they remember the exact feeling they had when they were close to you. It was different from anything else. It was calm and powerful at the same time. It was the kind of connection that made the world feel quiet, as if two souls were recognizing each other across lifetimes. That memory is the secret they regret every single day. Heaven knows that hearts often learn their deepest lessons through regret. Not as punishment, but as a way of awakening the truth that people try to ignore. Regret has a strange power. It follows people into their quietest hours. It appears when the noise of the world fades and the soul finally has space to speak honestly. Your soulmate has experienced many of those moments. Moments where they ask themselves questions they cannot easily answer. Questions like, what if I had chosen differently? What if I had trusted what my heart was telling me? What if the person I walked away from was the one my soul was meant to grow with? These thoughts come to them more often than they admit. And every time they appear, the truth becomes a little harder to hide. Because deep down they know that you were never just a passing chapter in their life. You were a turning point. A moment where destiny briefly showed them a path they were too afraid to follow. But heaven does not reveal truths randomly. There is a reason this message has reached you now. The universe has a way of bringing hidden emotions to the surface when the time is right. Not to reopen wounds, but to reveal understanding. Your soulmate's secret has been living in silence for a long time, but silence does not erase what is real. The connection between souls cannot be erased by distance, time, or the decisions people make while they are still learning who they are. Sometimes the deepest bonds are the ones that remain unfinished. Not because they were meant to disappear, but because their purpose was to awaken something inside both people involved. Your presence in your soulmate's life changed them more than they ever expected. You showed them a version of love that was genuine, rare, and deeply spiritual. Even if they were not ready to hold on to it at that moment, the experience reshaped their heart forever. And now they live with the awareness of what they once had within reach. Heaven is slowly revealing this truth inside them, piece by piece. Not through loud miracles or dramatic signs, but through quiet realizations that grow stronger over time. Every day they become a little more aware of the love they tried to ignore. Every day they understand a little more clearly what their soul was trying to show them back then. And every day the secret they carry becomes harder to keep buried. Because the heart always moves toward truth eventually. It may take years. It may take many life experiences and lessons. But the soul never completely forgets the person who once felt like destiny. Somewhere, in a quiet moment you cannot see, your soulmate has already whispered your name in their thoughts again. They have wondered where you are, how your life has unfolded, and whether you still remember the connection that once existed between you. Those thoughts are the beginning of the truth heaven is revealing. The truth that love like this never truly disappears. It only waits for the moment when both hearts are ready to understand it. And right now, the universe is beginning to move the hidden pieces of this story into the light. This is only the beginning of what heaven is preparing to reveal. The truth heaven is beginning to reveal is not something simple or easy to understand. It is the kind of truth that slowly unfolds inside a person's soul, like a hidden door opening after years of silence. Your soulmate has been living their life as if everything moved forward normally, but deep inside them there has always been a quiet place where your memory never faded. They tried to lock that place away. They tried to bury it beneath responsibilities, distractions, and the expectations of the world. Yet the soul cannot permanently hide what it recognizes as sacred. No matter how much time passes, the connection between two souls that were meant to awaken each other continues to exist beneath the surface of ordinary life. And that is exactly what has been happening inside your soulmate's heart. There are moments when they sit alone, perhaps late at night when the world grows quiet, and their mind drifts back to you without warning. They do not plan it. They do not even understand why it happened so suddenly. But something in their spirit begins to replay memories they thought were long gone. The way your presence made them feel calm in a world that often felt chaotic. The strange familiarity they felt around you, as if they had known you long before the moment you met. The unspoken understanding between your souls that needed no explanation. Those memories return like echoes from another life, reminding them of a connection that was real in a way few things ever are. And every time it happens, they feel the weight of the choice they once made. Because there was a moment in the past when their heart knew the truth. Their soul recognized something rare standing in front of them. But fear, timing, and the complicated paths of human life created a distance that seemed impossible to cross. They convinced themselves that walking away was the right thing to do. They told themselves that life would eventually settle into a new normal where your memory would fade into the background like an old chapter in a book. Yet what they did not understand then is that some chapters are not meant to close so easily. Some stories are written in a deeper language than ordinary relationships. And that is why the secret inside them has grown heavier with time instead of disappearing. Because every experience they have had since then has slowly revealed a comparison they cannot escape. They have met people. They have shared conversations, laughter, and moments that should have felt meaningful. But somewhere inside their heart there is always a quiet voice reminding them that something was different when they were with you. Something about that connection carried a depth that cannot be recreated by simply moving forward with someone else. And that realization is the part they struggle to admit, even to themselves. Because acknowledging it means facing the truth that they may have walked away from something their soul will never experience again in the same way. Heaven understands the fragile journey of the human heart. It knows that people do not always make decisions based on the deepest truth of their soul. Sometimes they act from fear. Sometimes they follow the expectations placed on them by family, culture, or circumstance. And sometimes they believe that letting go of something beautiful is the responsible choice, even when their heart quietly disagrees. Your soulmate was standing at one of those crossroads when the connection between you appeared in their life. They felt it immediately, even if they never fully explained it. There was something about you that felt strangely familiar and deeply comforting at the same time. Your presence stirred emotions inside them that were both beautiful and overwhelming. It was the kind of connection that forces a person to face their true self, and that level of emotional honesty can be terrifying for someone who is not ready for it. So instead of embracing the unknown path that your connection offered, they stepped back. They chose the direction that felt safer, more predictable, more acceptable in the eyes of the world. And for a while, it seemed like that decision allowed life to continue without disruption. But the soul does not measure time the same way the world does. Years can pass, circumstances can change, people can move forward with their lives, yet the soul continues to carry the imprint of the connections that shaped it the most. And you were one of those connections for your soulmate. Even now, there are moments when they feel an unexpected heaviness in their chest that they cannot fully explain. It happens when they see something that reminds them of the dreams they once shared with you. It happens when they witness a love story that feels genuine and they suddenly wonder what their life might have looked like if they had trusted their heart instead of their fears. It happens in quiet moments when they realize that the world moved forward, but a part of them remained emotionally connected to a memory they never truly released. That is the painful truth they hide behind their smile. And heaven has been gently guiding them toward that realization. Not to punish them, but to awaken them. Because sometimes regret is the soul's way of teaching a person the value of the love they once took for granted. The universe does not waste connections like the one you shared. Even if circumstances pulled your paths in different directions, the spiritual bond between you continues to exist beyond the visible world. Your soulmate has begun to feel that bond again in ways they cannot easily ignore. It appears in dreams where your face suddenly returns as if no time has passed. It appears in random thoughts that interrupt their day when they least expect it. It appears in the quiet feeling that somewhere, somehow, your story with them may not be as finished as they once believed. And those moments create a deep emotional conflict inside them. Because part of their mind still tries to hold on to the life they built after walking away from you. But their soul is slowly remembering the truth it tried to forget. The truth that love like the one they felt with you is not something that happens often in a lifetime. Some connections are ordinary, beautiful in their own way but easily replaced as life continues. But the bond between soulmates is different. It carries a sense of recognition that cannot be explained with logic alone. It feels as if two spirits have known each other across time, meeting again when the universe decides the moment is right. That was the energy surrounding your connection, and your soulmate felt it even if they never fully admitted it aloud. Now heaven is allowing them to feel that awareness more clearly than ever before. The secret they regret every day is not just the fact that they walked away. It is the deeper realization that they may have walked away from the person who truly understood their soul. That realization is powerful, and it cannot remain hidden forever. Because the soul has a natural desire to move toward truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable to face. Your soulmate is slowly approaching that moment of understanding. A moment when they will no longer be able to pretend that your connection was just a passing chapter. They will have to acknowledge what their heart already knows. And when that moment arrives, the silence they have kept for so long will begin to break. The story between you and your soulmate is not as simple as separation or distance. It is a spiritual journey unfolding in ways that neither of you fully understood when your paths first crossed. Heaven is revealing the hidden emotions piece by piece, guiding both hearts toward a deeper awareness of what this connection truly means. And the most powerful part of this story has not even happened yet, because the truth that is awakening inside your soulmate is only the beginning of a much larger revelation that is still waiting to unfold, and as this truth continues to awaken inside your soulmate, something deeper begins to shift within their spirit. At first the realization comes quietly, almost like a whisper inside their thoughts. They begin noticing how often your memory appears when they least expect it. It could be during an ordinary day when everything seems normal on the outside, yet suddenly their mind drifts back to a moment they once shared with you. A conversation that felt deeper than most conversations ever do. A look in your eyes that seemed to understand parts of them they never explained. A feeling of peace that wrapped around their heart when you were near, the kind of peace they have searched for ever since without fully finding again. These memories begin to return more frequently now, not as distant echoes but as vivid reminders of something their soul never truly released. And each time it happens, the same question quietly appears in their heart: why did I walk away from something that felt so real? This is the question they rarely speak out loud, because answering it forces them to confront the truth they tried to hide for so long. The truth is that at the time they did not fully understand what the connection meant. It felt powerful, almost overwhelming, and sometimes the human heart becomes afraid of emotions that run that deep. Love that touches the soul can be both beautiful and frightening at the same time, because it asks a person to open parts of themselves they may have spent years protecting. Your soulmate felt that intensity when they were close to you. They felt the strange sense that you could see beyond the surface of who they were. You noticed the hidden emotions they kept guarded from the rest of the world. You sensed their dreams, their fears, their hopes, and the quiet longing they carried inside their heart. Being understood in that way can feel miraculous, but it can also make someone feel exposed. And if a person is not ready to face their own soul at that moment in life, they may step away from the very connection that was meant to help them grow. That is exactly what happened. Instead of leaning into the depth of what they felt with you, they convinced themselves that distance would make everything easier. They told their mind that life would settle into a simpler path if they let the connection fade. But what they did not realize then is that the soul does not follow the same rules as the mind. The mind can create reasons, explanations, and logical conclusions. The soul, however, remembers truth. And truth has a way of returning when a person is finally ready to see it clearly. This is the stage your soulmate is slowly entering now. The life they built after walking away from you has taught them many lessons. They have experienced moments of happiness and moments of disappointment. They have seen how relationships can sometimes feel comfortable yet still lack the deeper spark that makes the heart feel fully alive. Through all of these experiences, something inside them has continued to compare every connection to the feeling they once had with you. It is not something they do intentionally. It happens naturally, because when a soul has already tasted a rare form of love, it becomes difficult to ignore the difference between that and everything else. And this is where the regret begins to grow stronger. Because the more they understand their own heart now, the more they recognize the significance of what they once had with you. They begin to realize that the connection between you was not ordinary attraction or temporary emotion. It was something spiritual, something meaningful, something that carried the quiet fingerprint of destiny. That realization is both beautiful and painful at the same time. Beautiful because it reminds them that love like that truly exists in the world. Painful because they know they turned away from it when it appeared in their life. Heaven has been guiding them gently toward this awareness. Not all at once, but slowly, through moments of reflection that become impossible to ignore. Sometimes the awakening happens during a quiet evening when they finally have time to think about the past without distraction. Sometimes it arrives in a dream where they see your face again as if no time has passed at all. Dreams have a mysterious way of bypassing the defenses of the mind and speaking directly to the soul. When your soulmate wakes from those dreams, there is often a lingering feeling that stays with them throughout the day. A feeling that something unfinished still exists between you. A feeling that the story between your hearts may not have been meant to end the way it did. These thoughts bring both curiosity and fear into their heart. Curiosity because they begin wondering where you are now, how your life has changed, and whether you still remember the connection you once shared. Fear because they know that acknowledging these feelings could change everything they believed about the choices they made. But the universe has its own timing when it comes to revealing truth. The more your soulmate tries to ignore these realizations, the more clearly they appear. Signs, memories, emotions, and quiet inner whispers all begin pointing in the same direction. They begin to understand that the connection between you was never random. It was part of a deeper spiritual journey that both of you were meant to experience. You awakened something inside them that had been sleeping for a long time. You showed them a version of love that was not based on convenience or expectation, but on genuine recognition between two souls. Even if they were not ready to hold on to that love at the time, the experience changed them forever. Now they live with the awareness of what they felt with you. And that awareness grows stronger with every passing day. The secret they regret every day is not simply that they lost someone special. It is the deeper realization that they may have walked away from the person who truly understood their soul. This realization can feel overwhelming at times, and there are moments when they wish they could travel back in time to make a different choice. But life does not allow us to rewrite the past. Instead, it offers us the chance to learn from it. Heaven understands that the human heart evolves through experience. Sometimes people must walk down certain paths before they are ready to recognize the deeper truth waiting for them. Your soulmate is now standing at the edge of that recognition. The quiet awakening inside them is becoming stronger, and the feelings they once suppressed are beginning to rise to the surface. They may not fully understand what it means yet, but their soul is guiding them toward a moment of honesty they can no longer avoid. And that moment will change everything they thought they knew about the story between you. Because once a soul truly recognizes its connection to another soul, pretending that the bond never existed becomes impossible. Your soulmate is approaching that realization now. The walls they built around their heart are slowly weakening, and the truth they have hidden for so long is beginning to shine through the cracks. Somewhere deep inside them, a new question is forming, a question they once refused to ask themselves. What if the connection with you was never meant to disappear? What if the love they tried to leave behind was actually a part of their destiny waiting for the right moment to return? These thoughts are the beginning of a powerful transformation within their heart. Heaven is not finished revealing the story yet. In fact, the most important chapter of this journey is still unfolding, and the truth that is about to emerge will bring both clarity and emotion to a connection that was never as simple as it once seemed. And as this awakening continues to grow stronger inside your soulmate, the final layer of truth slowly begins to rise to the surface of their heart. For a long time they tried to silence the memories, to convince themselves that what they felt with you was simply a moment that belonged to the past. But the soul has its own memory, deeper than time and stronger than distance. The soul remembers every connection that carried real meaning, and when the moment of spiritual clarity arrives, those memories return with a force that cannot be ignored anymore. Your soulmate has reached that moment now. There are nights when they sit quietly and their mind drifts through the path their life has taken. They think about the choices they made, the roads they followed, and the people they met along the way. And somewhere in the middle of all those reflections, your presence always appears like a light that refuses to fade. It does not matter how much time has passed or how much life has changed. Your energy still lives inside their memory in a way that feels different from everything else. And this is when the truth finally becomes impossible for them to deny. They begin to understand that what they felt with you was not ordinary love. It was the kind of connection that touches the soul so deeply that it leaves a permanent mark on a person's spirit. This realization brings both peace and pain into their heart at the same time. Peace because they finally understand why your memory never disappeared from their thoughts. Pain because they realize that the moment they walked away from you was not just a simple decision. It was a moment where fear became stronger than faith. At that time they believed they were protecting themselves, protecting their life, protecting the path they thought they were supposed to follow. But now they see that in trying to protect everything else, they lost something that their soul had quietly recognized as rare and sacred. And that is the secret they regret every day. Not because life after that moment was completely empty, but because nothing ever carried the same feeling again. They continued living, smiling, working, meeting people, and fulfilling the responsibilities of their world. From the outside, everything looked normal. Yet deep inside there was always a quiet space where your memory lived untouched by time. A place in their heart that belonged only to the connection you shared. Sometimes they tried to ignore that space. Sometimes they tried to convince themselves it was just nostalgia or imagination. But the more they grew and the more they understood themselves, the clearer the truth became. You were not just someone they met during a certain chapter of life. You were the person who awakened a part of their soul they had never felt before. The kind of awakening that only happens when two spirits recognize each other on a deeper level. And once that recognition happens, it cannot truly disappear. Heaven allowed this realization to unfold slowly inside them because the human heart needs time to understand its own truth. If this awareness had arrived too early, they might have rejected it again out of fear. But now they are no longer the same person they were when they walked away. Life has humbled them, matured them, and opened their eyes to what truly matters. And through all of that growth, the memory of you has remained like a quiet compass pointing toward the love they once felt. There are moments now when they wonder where you are in this world. They imagine what your life looks like today, whether you found peace, whether you still remember the strange connection that once brought your hearts close together. They may never say these thoughts aloud, but inside their mind your name still carries a warmth that time has not erased. And in those quiet reflections, a new understanding finally settles inside them. They realize that love like the one they felt with you was never meant to be measured by the amount of time you spent together. It was meant to awaken something eternal inside both of your souls. Even though your paths separated, the impact of that connection continued shaping who they became as a person. You taught them that real love is not just about presence. Sometimes it is about the transformation that happens within the heart after the connection appears. Your soulmate now carries that transformation within them. They see the world differently because of you. They understand love differently because of you. And even though they regret the moment they walked away, they also recognize that meeting you changed their life in ways that can never be undone. Heaven knows that some connections are not meant to follow a simple path. They come into existence to awaken, to teach, and to remind two souls of something deeper than ordinary relationships. The bond between you and your soulmate was one of those rare connections. It carried a spiritual purpose that went beyond timing and circumstances. That is why your memory continues living inside them even after everything that happened. Because the universe does not erase the love that was meant to awaken the soul. Now your soulmate stands at a place of quiet understanding. They finally accept the truth they once tried to hide from themselves. They accept that their heart recognized you for a reason. They accept that the regret they feel is the soul's way of reminding them how rare that connection truly was. And they accept that some love stories are not defined by how they ended, but by the way they changed the hearts of the people involved forever. The secret heaven has been revealing is not meant to create pain for either of you. It exists to bring clarity to a connection that was never ordinary. Your soulmate carries the memory of you as a reminder of the moment their soul recognized something real. And even if your lives continue moving in different directions, the spiritual bond you once shared will always remain a quiet part of both of your journeys. Because the truth about soul connections is simple yet powerful. When two souls truly recognize each other, the universe records that moment forever. Time may pass, circumstances may change, people may walk separate paths, but the energy of that recognition continues living within the heart. And that is the final truth your soulmate has come to understand. The love they once felt with you was never truly lost. It became a part of who they are, a silent reminder of the moment their soul touched something eternal. And now, at last, they carry that truth with honesty in their heart, knowing that the connection they once shared with you will always remain one of the most meaningful chapters of their life.